as you move through these. You know what I mean? You don't, it doesn't have to be exact, but you know, this first one took me 4 hours with concerted effort. The second one took me an hour and a half, right? And you find
Yeah, there was a lot of stumbling.
Sure.
Not yesterday, but like the day before. I
Right.
think when I got frustrated.
Yeah, yeah. No, I'm just saying, like, you're doing great, but you know, like that's what's gonna be that allows you to plan your day, right?
Yeah.
Because once you get it down to an ATSAS, you know it takes me 45 minutes to process this edit and just get it done. Then you know you can squeeze it in whenever, you know, where it's not this big question mark. Because right now, when you first start doing it, it's like there's a big question mark hanging over, like how long is it going to take me to get through this? That gets better with time as you understand how long it takes you to process 10 minutes of footage. Hello.
Were we streaming that conversation?
It doesn't matter.
Editing.
Yeah. People were just, you know, barely filing in as we ended, so. That's me, the most vindicated man in history. Paul Zigo. I'm still blocked on all of Voosh's shit. Saw he was streaming yesterday, and he was being very chat interactive.
Yeah.
So I was like, maybe I'll log into his, because he does his chat on his GG thing, and so I was like, I'll see. I logged into my .gg thing, and it's like, you are permanently banned from this chat. It's like, fuck. Poor Voosh. It's my biggest dream in life. Land, having my own little place that is my own, that I don't answer to nobody on, and that antecedes me. Right? I die, it goes on. I like that. But I don't really need that. If you only knew how charitable you'd be. I know. Max Charity. Max Charity. Max Charity. Max Charity. Max Good Faith. I promise. Scout's honor.
But yeah, I think that one conversation where you kind of like caught up with each other set a better tone than some other conversations you had with
me and him one-on-one.
Yeah.
Both times was a better conversation than me and him in the gauntlet.
Yeah.
Me and him in the dragon's den. I think that him having two other dudes and me in there probably put him on the hyper defensive.
Yeah.
Made him feel like he was getting attacked 3 different ways.
And also it being on your show.
Right.
Where you didn't have control. Because like the other conversations, he was streaming it, you were streaming
it.
And I'm sure he was streaming it too, but not. It doesn't feel the same when it's in your layout.
Yeah. Do I like dabs? No. I used to dab back in like 2016, 2017. I was pretty heavy into dabs. And it's expensive to dab. Dabbing is expensive when you're doing it a lot. It's expensive to smoke a lot of weed, period, but it's way more expensive to vape concentrates.
It's kind of like the opposite with nicotine. Like, it's way cheaper to vape than smoke.
Mm-hmm. The bacon? Yeah, I mean, I would think the bacon's getting close to done, but what do I know? Yesterday, so many people tried to convince you not to smoke. What shitheads? It's not even trying to convince me. It's trying to, like, shame me into stopping it. It ain't gonna happen. One of those things, you know.
you switched to vaping of your own volition,
Mhm.
based on your lungs.
I decided I wanted to fucking try and kick it because of the expense and because my lungs fucking aren't what they used to be. And so I did. Nobody told me to do it. Nobody pressured me to do it. Nobody told, like, you know, shamed me into it. It was, I chose to do it. It was my time to do it. And I did it. That's the way it works with everybody. Nobody quits something because people went, you should quit. It's a fairy tale. If you don't have a medical card, it's expensive. Yeah.
Something maybe we'll look into.
Yeah. I think I qualify.
I mean, especially since you tried physical therapy for months, you didn't get much pain reduction.
Yeah. Best advice you would give to younger you? I'll answer this hypothetical, but just to underline it, I would give no advice to the younger me because that would change who I am. That
Change
said,
your whole trajectory.
it would change your whole trajectory. It would pull you off your life path. And I like my life path. I've got a beautiful wife. I've got a cute little dog and cat. I've got a beautiful house. And I've got a job that I love. So, cool, right? But, hypothetically speaking, if I went back in time and I could give one piece of advice to Lil Paul, I would say, listen to other people, but don't ascribe meaning to the things that they say about you.
You wouldn't tell yourself to keep the Starbucks stock or get the Apple stock.
No, because that would change my trajectory.
It would change it too much.
Change it way too much. Yeah.
Too much money.
Yeah, me with too much money is a scary thought. Scary thought. You know, there's a universe where I sold all my Starbucks stock, put it into Google, became a multimillionaire, and then 6 years later, I'm homeless and a smack addict or something. I kid you not. I think that certain types of people are better off being poor,
or at least
average, than they ever would be being rich. And I think I might be, especially in my 20s, I would have been one of those people. Now, I think I'd be a little bit more apt to, like, all right, let's be smart with this. But when I was in my 20s, bro, I would have spent that money.
I wouldn't have accumulated right away. If you had sold your Starbucks stock in your 20s, it wouldn't have really come to fruition until your 30s.
No, I mean, sold my Starbucks stock. Here's where I could have been 10x millionaire, at least. I had about $40,000, no, less, $25,000 worth of Starbucks stock vested. Mm-hmm. If I had taken that $25,000 of vested stock, converted it into Google's IPO, mm-hmm. I would have made I did the calculations one time, it's 15 or $20 million.
Within like 5 years or something?
No, within like a year or two. If I would have left it in Google, we're talking hundreds of millions of dollars. Yeah. The Google IPO was like gold from heaven. Mm-hmm. Everybody that got in on it tripled, quadrupled, 10x'd.
But at the same time, the reason they did so well is because so many people were probably wary of it because of the dot-com crash.
Yeah. No, I mean, it definitely was, but a lot of people got in on it. A lot of people made a fuck ton of money on that. And if I would have just moved what I had liquid, which was, I had more than 25,000 in Starbucks stock, but they vested over a period of years. So they would give you stock options that would vest a quarter per year. So it took 4 years for your stock options to vest.
Yeah. Like, if I had kept my Amazon stock, it would have grown, but I don't think it would have grown nearly as much.
No. If I would have just held my Starbucks stock, several $100,000. Yeah. So it's just one of those things, you know what I mean?
That's that's why they give it to employees, I think, is because they know that employees are very tempted to just cash it out as soon as it's vested.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's why they do it.
Yeah.
They do it because it would cause volatility in their stock price.
Yeah.
If they were giving fully vested stock options to every employee that was over a year and worked over 20 hours, because that's what it was.
Yeah.
If you worked 20 hours or more a week and you had been with the company for 1 year, you started accruing vested stock options based on the amount of hours you worked the year previous. And so because I was an insane person who was constantly picking up shifts,
we're getting tons of them.
I got fuck tons of stock.
Yeah, because with Amazon, it was just like a set number. It was, I think, 2 shares.
Yeah.
Starting from the 2 year
Well,
mark.
there's also not part-time work at Amazon, right?
There is.
There is? Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
There were some people that just worked weekends, and then they had the option to pick up extra days throughout the week.
Yeah, ours, and I don't know if Starbucks does it the same way, but ours, you got a certain amount, they had a calculation.
Yeah.
Hours worked, time with the company, stock options. So you actually got more per hour worked the longer you were with the company.
Yeah.
So at around 4 years, my earnings in stock compounded because I had been a 4-year employee. I had worked well over 40 hours a week all 4 years. And so my experience with that was not the typical experience.
Yeah.
Because most people come work at Starbucks for a year or two and leave, and they leave with a little bit of
And
stock.
Amazon ripped the rug out, like, while I was still working there. Like, as soon as they raised the minimum to $15 an hour, they're like, no more stock.
Yeah. They just cut it. Yeah.
You had the option to buy it yourself
Yeah.
at a discount, whatever the fuck, but...
Starbucks did that too, and that's another reason why I had a lot of stock, is because they gave an option where you get your vested shares no matter what, and then they had a thing called the SIP plan, stock investment plan, where it tagged on a nominal amount to your 401k for stock and for purchasing of Starbucks stock. So a little bit more would come out of my paycheck for my 401k. I didn't even really notice it, but it translated into 2 or 3 shares a year of Starbucks stock. So it just accumulated.
How the world has fallen.
Yeah.
Because I don't think they get that shit no more.
Maybe they do.
Or maybe it's very much more limited to, like, managers and stuff.
I have to talk to a Starbucks employee and see what they still have and what they don't. To the people who say money does not bring happiness, never woke up in a new Bugatti. That's true. That's true.
But, like you said, it's a dangerous proposition for some people.
No, I will tell you right now, I can almost see my life. If I had listened to the people that were like, sell every fucking stock you own, put it in Google. If I'd have done that, right? Put about 25, 30K into Google, made about $30 million in a year, right? I would have bought some retarded piece of property that I had no idea how to maintain.
Maybe even bought property for others.
I would have bought my mother's house for her. I would have bought my dad's house for him. I would have bought this, that, or the other
Maybe
thing.
Even your sister.
I would have paid off my girlfriend at the time's school debt. I would have went nuts, just like hooking up the homies and hooking up family and taking trips and buying things for people that I knew that they were saving for because fuck it. And buying things for myself that I always wanted because fuck it, I've got 30 million. I would have ran through that money, bro. I would have ran through that money something fierce in my 20s for sure. Because I just, I was smart enough in my 20s not to go into massive debt. So maybe I would have been better. Maybe I'm not
But like you said, you didn't have as much money available.
Well,
So
yeah,
it's
but
scarcer.
I'm saying like other people in my generation, a lot of them came out their 20s with $50,000, $60,000 in credit card debt.
Yeah, and that's still the case. A lot of people do that.
I didn't. So maybe I'm being a little too harsh on myself, but I just gotta think. I didn't understand money back then. I understood how to put it aside and so that I had it when the bills were due,
Yeah.
but that was it.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't understand anything other than hand to mouth at that point. And that's exactly how I lived through most of my 20s. I made just about enough to live. And to me, that was like, you know, that's the way it was supposed to be. So if you take that mentality and give it $30 million, what does a hand to mouth mentality do? It takes its hand and puts it in its mouth.
Yeah, it wants to spend
Right.
everything. Yeah.
I don't know, 30 mil is a lot. You would have had to go insane to spend it all.
Oh no, there's people that have blown through way bigger.
Way
jackpots.
bigger. We're talking hundreds of millions. You vastly underestimate how quickly money, like there's an old saying, a fool and his money are soon parted. That's an Irish saying. And it's true. Money is like water. When it's flush, it feels like it's flush forever, and then just a scant amount of time later, it's gone. If you don't watch it, and if you don't think about it, and if you're not semi-careful with it, it's like liquid. It's like trying to pick up a handful of water.
Because, yeah, like if you buy a big house, that means bigger property taxes. That means probably bigger maintenance if that comes up.
Maybe you buy a big property and the person that owns the property next to you files a giant lawsuit because your trees are ripping up their property. It's just some shit you didn't think about. And all of a sudden, somebody's suing you for $10 million.
And, you know, the more money they know you have, the more they're going to
The more they're coming for. Exactly. People don't get it, man. People don't get it. Money is money is important, unfortunately, in our society. But if you focus on it too much, one way or the other, it'll destroy you. Like, it'll destroy you. You spend it too much, if you're too unfocused about it or too incorrect about it, it'll destroy you. If you are too prudent with it, it'll destroy you.
Yeah, because you can see like the mega riches, it means something different to them. It means power,
Right.
And it means they want to accumulate and accumulate and accumulate.
Well, one of the things is this blew my mind when I learned it. Rich people don't ever hardly spend $1 of their own money.
Yeah, debt financing.
It's like, why not? Because that's how they stay rich. When you have a certain amount of money, the banks will give you free money, basically. They give you money that is so cheap in interest because you're so guaranteed that when you spend it, it's like pennies on the dollar to you.
And especially like with a house, like probably a lot of rich people buy with a mortgage so that they can flip it without having so much of their liquid tied
Yeah,
up.
there's no liquidity in it. They mortgage a house, finance a reconstruction, flip the whole thing, and they never paid $1 because the financed reconstruction and the money that they mortgaged for the house is all eaten up by the profit.
Yeah.
And so basically they took a house for free, fixed it up for free, and then sold it to somebody. And the profit margin is what they put in the bank and what they get lent towards. The bank looks at that income, looks at what they've got sitting, says, yeah, we'll give you $1 million loan at 3%.
No money down.
No money down, revolving credit line, whatever you want. There you go. And that's what they spend on.
You know, there's no point buying it outright unless that's like your forever home.
Yep. And even that can be a trap if you do it the wrong way.
Yeah.
Remember The Money Pit?
Yeah.
That movie? Poor Tom Hanks buys his dream home and then it just completely falls apart. And that movie is a sensationalized example of a real phenomenon.
Yeah.
People think that, you know, if I just had the money to buy the house that I want, I'd be okay. They don't think about what it takes to maintain a house. They don't think about the things that happen. Like sometimes people will buy houses, buy property, and they end up in a lawsuit with the county because the county wants access to that property. The county disagrees with the original blah, blah, blah. There's all kinds of shit. You end up with liens against your property from the county because they think they own this curb and you know you own that curb. That type of shit doesn't happen to poor people. You know what I mean? Like that, when like you're renting an apartment, you don't have to worry about getting sued because that apartment was built on the wrong land. That's the fucking owner's job to get sued for that, right? If you lose your apartment, it's not like you lost all your net worth. You had no net worth in that apartment. You moved to another apartment, right? There's an upside to poverty. There really is. A certain level of it anyway, right? We're not talking about like dirt poor. We're talking about, you know, just kind of barely making it. There are upsides to that.
Yeah.
Almost gives you something to aim toward. Maybe. I mean, I don't know. To me, I think it's you know, like if there is a devil, it's money, because it corrupts. Money is power. Power corrupts, and it's a corrupting influence. I genuinely see it as a moral wrong.
Yeah, because like a poor person would think, oh, if I had 10 million, I would be fine forever.
Right.
But a person that actually has $10 million wants to make 20, wants to make 100.
Yeah. 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 I mean, you know, philosophically speaking, I think that money is evil. If there is an evil, then money is it. And yeah.
Do you think there's something to the American culture and spirit in particular that makes billionaires more likely? Like, you think we have an inherent "fuck you, got mine"?
Yes. Yes. Yeah, the inherent "fuck you, got mine" written into the American way of life and fostered by so many generations of Americans and expanded upon. I mean, people forget the Constitution that we laud as so egalitarian was written by rich landowners to protect rich landowners. So this is a country that was absolutely just overwrought. That, you know, the whole impetus for the Revolutionary War was money.
Yeah, like we don't want to pay taxes to these.
A lot of people are like, oh, it was oppression and it was all this, that, and the other thing. It was tyranny. No, no, no. It was literally rich people not wanting to pay import taxes.
And not wanting to pay taxes to
Export tax. Not want. They wanted to be able to make all the money on their shit and not have to pay royalties on it. That's what the Revolutionary War was about. So the American spirit is
tariffs, not royalties.
Tariffs, royalties, same. Yeah, you get what I'm saying. I mean, they're called royalties for a reason, because the king used to take a percentage of every fucking sale.
Yeah.
So yeah, America's story is chasing the dollar. Fuck you, got mine. That is the sentence that most encapsulates America. Fuck you, comma, got mine, period. That's what we were built on. That's what freedom means here.
You think that's why our murder rate is so much higher than Europe, too?
Yes. Of course it is. Because we don't value anything above money here.
And your own personal success and
Well,
fulfillment.
your ability to accumulate money is the highest virtue in America. More virtuous than charity, more virtuous than piety, more virtuous than humility. Your ability to be rich and remain rich and keep getting richer is the highest virtue in the land. That's not what you saw in Mel Gibson's The Patriot? Of course not. Of course not. But keep in mind, in Mel Gibson's The Patriot, he was a rich landowner. Shh, don't tell anybody.
Forrest Gump had to get rich.
Yeah. Forrest Gump, in order to be able to do all the amazing things he did with his life, had to get super fucking wealthy. That was the highest virtue. That's how he was rewarded for all of the amazing things that he did in his life, was he got rich for it, because that's the American dream. When you do amazing things with your life, you get rich.
The biggest value to saving Legless Dude was him suggesting he invest in Apple.
If he had let Legless Dude die a death of despair, the Legless Dude never would have given him the idea to start the shrimping company, which led them to getting enough money to be able to invest in Apple, right? That's how you get repaid for good deeds and selfless deeds. Money, money, money. Yeah. Had he not attained money and fame, he never would have found Jenny again. She would never have known where to find him again, or he would never would have found her. The money and fame even brought Jenny back into his life. Money doesn't always back fascism. That's incorrect. Money backs money. People need to start thinking of money as a different ideology, because it is.
Yeah, like all the rich falling in line with Trump, it's because they want to keep their money.
Right.
They want
to make more of it.
Out
yes.
Stuff and tariffs for them.
Money backs money. Money doesn't give a fuck about fascism. Guess what? If all of a sudden you can make $1 million killing a fascist tomorrow, money's happy to oblige. Money is more than happy to help you mobilize an army to squash a fascist when that's where the money is to be made. But where the money is to be made is going along with the fascist. Money's more than happy to do that too. Like I said, money backs money.
Like if Trump consistently crashes the stock market, they're probably going to think maybe we should invest a little bit more heavily into the Democrats to bring it back up.
I don't want to say too much, but if Trump doesn't turn the stock market completely around and continues tanking it, they'll get rid of his ass. Point blank. He'll have a heart attack.
Yeah, because there's only so much dump and pump that you can take advantage of after a certain point. The peaks aren't worth it.
Yep. Yeah.
Like, it was fun probably the first couple times it did it, but, after a certain point, you can't keep accumulating what you already have if it keeps bouncing.
Right. Sad part is that if celebrities spend their fortunes and go broke, they'll just open a GoFundMe and plenty of people will donate to bail them out. I don't know about that.
I mean, I'd say the biggest celebrity, Nicolas Cage.
Yeah.
He worked his way out.
Yeah. Nicolas Cage tax dodged and got into tax problems and then made some bad investments, lost a bunch of money, and was basically broke. And Nicolas Cage sold properties and made probably 200 movies in the last 6 years. So
he didn't get out with charity. He got out with fucking taking whatever work flew his way, basically.
Yeah. I don't know if it's Demcoat, but they're saying reps are slowly leaving, and it would open Trump up for impeachment.
Yeah, that is actually a strategy I saw in an article. Like, Trump is very worried that some Republican representatives might want to run for higher office, or they want to retire. Because we already, I think, had 4 or 5 representatives just die of old age.
Yeah.
Recently.
And more on the docket soon.
Yeah.
Mitch ain't long for the world.
Well, that's a senator. Yeah.
Well.
Yeah. But, like, the House, I think, is where they're most worried about losing people.
Oh, you're talking about just specifically, not all of Congress.
Yeah. Because he's worried. Because I think Senate is a pretty comfortable job, but a representative would be like, probably be better to be governor or senator, and then...
I mean, senators all, like, a lot of them have ambition too, but it's also high. I see what you're saying. It's high enough position that a lot of people are comfortable just remaining senators.
And way more security with a 6-year term than a 2-year term.
Sure. But the House, so he's worried that Republicans are quietly, like a group of Republicans are quietly going to flip on him and open him up to impeachment.
Not flip on him, but, like, leave and then...
Leave?
Like I said, pursuing higher office in the next election, or...
Well, leave and then what? So they're
replaced by either...
Democrats?
A different Republican that's opposed to him, or a Democrat.
Okay, I see.
So, like, he's planning on investing a ton of money in the incumbents, so another Republican doesn't get in and fuck it up.
I see. So I thought it was more, yeah, okay. So I thought it was about...
So he's worried about losing the majority through these various factors.
Okay. Got it.
Because if he loses an incumbent, then the next Republican nominee may or may not perform as well, because they won't have the incumbent advantage.
Right. What if we monetarily rewarded the most demonstrably empathetic and understanding human beings? What if we built a new system that monetarily rewards a lack of egoism or narcissism?
That would never happen. People don't do it for money.
Right. And yeah, I mean, it's just like what you're talking about is like bizarro world capitalism, where instead of being the most shrewd, cutthroat person getting money showered on them, the most humble, unassuming, quiet, selfless person gets money showered on them. It just, you can't, there's no inverting the pyramid. Like, take a pyramid, right, which is what capitalism is, and put it on its tip. Like, flip the base and make the base the top, is what you're saying, that the whole thing crumbles. It would never happen. The people that have money would never see a kindness. And they would hoard that money rather than give it to the genuinely kind people. So that's why I say that if there is an evil on this planet, and I don't like the term evil, I don't genuinely believe in evil as it's described. But if there is an evil, a genuine moral evil on this planet, it is money. Harris 2028. Oh my God, bro. Just stop. Don't. Please, no.
Like, they were smart enough to not run Hillary again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or do you think Hillary would have done better than Kamala?
I'll do you one better. I think Hillary's coming back.
She's so old.
I know. But so is every other president we've elected in the last 3 cycles. I think she's coming back. I think it's going to be I'm with her 2028.
Yeah. Well, how old is she now, right now?
Hill Dog got to be in her late 70s. I smell it in there. Yep, late 70s.
But that means that she's going to be 80 in 2028.
I'm with her. I'm with her. I smell it. Because she's come out of her hole again. Yeah. Hillary Clinton comes out of her hole for 2 reasons. Number 1, there's money to be made. Number 2, there's an election on. Right? Now, I know there's probably money to be made right now, but there's also an upcoming election to consider.
Because our election focus never ends.
Yep.
Like, I think probably as soon as Trump was elected, there was already whispers of 2028.
Yep.
There's no gap anymore.
Yep. That is true. Number 3, to lose the election. Yes. And I think she will. I think this is my early call. We're going to start hearing Hillary 2028. Hillary 2028. It's going to start floating around over the next year.
They'll make an argument like, well, she did win the popular vote.
Yeah. It's about to happen, guys. I smell it in the air, dude. And I'm the Hillary whisperer, bro.
And she probably sees it as an easy win. It's like, I literally just have to campaign on restoring.
This broad doesn't have a job in government anymore. She's richer than the devil. Why is she popping her snake head up out of the snake hole right now? This bitch could buy an island, buy an army of slaves to cater to her whims, and spend the rest of her life getting a hideous tan in the sun with a coconut drink.
No, like you said, money is evil, and it turns into a craving for power and not just money.
Yes. Because that's money is power. That's why.
But there are certain kinds of powers that are bigger than money, like the presidency.
But those things
still deliver more money.
Those things are for sale.
Yeah.
For money.
Yeah.
The presidency is purchased. Money, 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 money. That's why I said there are 2 things that make Hillary poke her head up out of the cave. Making money and an election. And those are the 2, they're basically synonyms. They're basically synonymous.
Like, she's probably still fucking scraping appearance fees out of Bill.
Oh, 100%. She's got him taxed for life. He's just a zombie now. I'm not saying it goes all the way, but I'm saying you'll hear a story about an exploratory committee for Hillary Clinton within the next year and a half. And because I got to tell you, every time I start seeing her making the rounds on the news shows.
Yeah, we covered it, that one clip that you guys ended up aborting out of just because it was kind of boring, but you got the Hillary part.
But that's the thing. Yeah. Anytime she starts slithering out of the hole and starts making the rounds and doing the news.
It is funny that, like, people were talking about Michelle Obama, but Michelle Obama obviously has zero interest in it. I don't think she's ever expressed any interest.
Not even once. Not even, like, you know how they play coy?
Yeah.
Not even that. She's just straight up blunt, like, no. Democrats want Hillary Clinton's VP pick from 2016, Tim Kaine. No. They're building him up again. You guys don't understand how she works. Right? This was a flaw that Vosh had during the last election. He took his eye off the Hillary. Remember, he was making fun of me for being a ghost wandering around in a haunted mansion because I was mentioning Hillary. And then what happened? She showed up and did her part to scuttle this campaign that the Democrats just lost. You don't take your eye off of Hillary. And when she pops her head up out of the snake hole post-election...
Kamala had the same bad strategy as Hillary Clinton.
Yep. Oh, yeah. She ran the Hillary Clinton campaign and lost with it.
Neglected the swing states.
Hillary Clinton owns the DNC. Hillary Clinton had her fucking filthy disgusting reptile claws all over the Kamala Harris campaign.
Yeah, the biggest flaw Hillary Clinton has is the ego and not
Yes.
considering not winning.
The ego and the lack of empathy for other people.
Yeah.
The complete lack of empathizing. She cannot get into the head of a voter.
Mm-hmm.
She can't do it. She cannot see what they want from her.
Mm-hmm.
She's blind to empathy, and she has an ego the size of a fucking planet.
She thinks I didn't really lose.
No.
In 2016.
I was robbed.
Yeah.
I was robbed. I was fucked. All of the election denialism started with her. Remember that.
Mm-hmm.
The first time in in my memory that I remember a political party claiming that the results of an election were spurious, setting aside 2000, which was an anomaly, right? Let's just set that aside. We can talk about it in a minute. The only time I heard them say he stole an election was out of Hillary Clinton. That was the first time. So all this election denialism shit, she gave birth to it. She gave birth to Trump. It was part of her strategy to fund Trump because she thought he was the easiest one to beat. And so the DNC funded pro-Trump ads.
Right, he's way easier to beat than Jeb Bush. It should have been Jeb. Jeb would have been crushed like a grape.
Jeb, she would have butt-fucked Jeb. But that it just goes to show you the hubris, the ego. And when she starts talking on the news, you know her hands are all in it. She's going to run again. Red or blue? Neither.
And that doesn't mean in the middle either.
No, that doesn't mean I'm in between the two and part of the tug of war. I exist outside of the binary. No, not purple. I'm not a blend of these two fucking monstrous parties either. I exist outside of their binary, and I think a lot of people do. I think a growing amount of people realize that the squabbles going on between these things, between these two parties, are the concerns of the rich and powerful. And that they exist outside of the binary of things that are being argued about right now. And that it's time to find a new way. That's where I'm at. Both sold out corporatists, and the biggest moral good that either side does is argue for the lesser of two evils. That is the battleground. Yeah. Between red and blue is the lesser of two evils.
It was so tiny in 2024. Kamala got harder on immigration.
Yeah.
Kamala wasn't willing to stand up strongly against Israel.
Nope.
Kamala was back to let's drill. Let's not ban fracking. Let's not
pro-police, pro-cops.
For all.
Expand the police, expand the cops, fund the police, fearmonger about crime. All of that. Yes, yes, yes. Demonize the homeless. When the battleground is the lesser of two horrifying evils, you can count me the fuck out. And I think I'm not alone either. I think there's a lot of people that are tired of watching the fucking masquerade of bullshit that is red versus blue.
People argue like, well, look at how much worse it is in Gaza. It's like, what did Biden do to actually shift the needle in Israel?
Oh, he did a lot, actually. He gave them billions of dollars worth of bombs and weapons to help them prosecute a bloody war.
But he didn't get any closer to getting a ceasefire besides rumors that he was...
I'm working quietly in the background, Jack.
Or rumors of like swearing about him and shit.
Yep. If your political framework, if you want to have a political argument with me, and the stadium that we are having that argument on is the lesser of two evils, you can count me right the fuck out. Evil is evil is evil. The world is burning. War, rumors of war, it's starting to look real biblical.
Like, I think Trump's biggest mistake is thinking Netanyahu will chill out if I'm in power and I'm more favorable to him, or Putin will chill out because I'm more favorable to him.
Right. And it just isn't, it's retarded.
Yeah.
And the cycle continues.
It was the same mistake Nixon made.
Yes.
Like,
Appeasement, go along to get along, not taking a strong stand on things, favoring the status quo, favoring the most money-making opportunity over the right thing to do, etc., etc., etc. And the bottom of all of this talk is a pile of innocent bodies. You go back to the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, into the current day, there are 10, 20, 30 million victims of war. Babies, grandmothers, grandfathers, mothers and fathers, average people, sons and daughters in the ground. They never had a chance to express the potential of their lives because somebody needed to make money. Because money at the end of the day was more important than the potential of those people's lives. And you have seen 30, 40, 50 million candles extinguished. Some of them that never even really got a chance to properly be lit. Babies. And you want to argue minutia about the lesser of two evils with me while the world burns? Go fuck yourself. You're unserious. And you're bought and sold. You're bought and you're sold. You've sold out your humanity for money. You are not, we are not the same. We will never be the same. Yep, all of it to ensure continued power, continued luxury, continued conspicuous consumption for the owner class. And opposition to that is not on the ballot. People need to get the fuck real. People have gamified politics to the point where they act like they're scoring points. They act like it's a team deathmatch or some shit. The world is burning. It's not a vidya. It's not a ponage fight. We're talking about piles of human corpses. We're talking about stretches of land bombed into complete dust. We're talking about rumors of nuclear fucking exchange. This is not a joke. This is not donkey versus elephant. This is not a ponage match. This is not a video game. The world is burning, and nobody's trying to stop it. So it's time to get real. And I think I'm not alone in this. I think a lot of people are starting to see red versus blue, save the world ain't on the fucking ballot nowhere. What is a mass extinction? So, mass extinction event is an event where some percentage of life is gone from the planet at the end of it, right? I can't remember what the percentage is to quantify a mass extinction, but we are currently living through the fourth mass extinction event in Earth's history, in the history of life on this planet. It's high, yes. I know it's a high, it's over 50%. It's not a joke. I'm not trying to yuck your yum. I'm not trying to make your day worse by talking about this shit. But this is the battleground. This is where I engage politically. I'm just letting you know the arena that I stand in, which is the owner class and the donor class and the political class are raping the world. They're doing it at our expense. They found a way to make us pay for it. And that has to stop. That is the political field that I operate on. I don't operate on the Coliseum of lesser of two evils. You want to have that fucking battle while the world burns? Have at it, but don't come at me with it anymore, because I'm done with it. I lament the time that I've wasted arguing with people about the absolutely absurd minutia of lesser of two evils. It'll never stop. Not with that fucking attitude, it won't. Yeah, dude. I'll get a BBL. I'll get a BBL. Banned, bitch. Later. Why were dinosaurs discovered so late? I don't think they were discovered late. Paul, what's the likelihood of convention of the states happening in our lifetime? The only way to disrupt the current orthodoxy. The likelihood, probably pretty low. But my lifetime might be shorter than yours or longer than yours. I don't know. But yeah, in general, I'd say pretty low. Oh, dude, I got some gold to share. I got a technique. Ooh. I don't know if I'm the first person ever to do this, but I've discovered a technique. Oh, sorry, I got a little dizzy here because I was stretching in there. Ooh, I have problems with my cervical and thoracic spine. So that's like your neck down into your shoulder blades, like your neck through your mid back, right? And I have a lot of compression between the discs there, right? So I have stairs in my house. You need stairs to do this. You stand on the bottom step of your stairs, facing up, right? So you're going upstairs, you're at the bottom, so you don't want to fall and hurt yourself doing this. You bend down with your hands like this, and you go down all the way, right? You bend all the way over, and you grab the step that you're standing on with these hands. You hold tight, and you kind of lean your weight forward. Now, what happens is the step that you're standing on, obviously you can't lift or move that, so it provides a barrier. Your shoulders are engaged in holding that, but your weight is pulling your spine this way. Your weight is shifting forward while your shoulders are held back by the grip that you have on the step. And as you lean forward, it just pulls that whole thoracic spine and cervical spine like this. It's like somebody grabbed you at both ends and went like this. Opens everything like super wide. I've been doing that for the last like 3 months, a couple of times a day. And dude, I gotta tell you, it's something special. It's something special. Yeah, an inversion table could be really good for me, I think. Thanks, femboy. You're far too kind. I don't think it was that great of a show. I felt pretty fucking physically and mentally disengaged last night. It wasn't a hard day for me, it was just a weird day for me. My brain is elsewhere. And yeah, my contribution to the show wasn't what it could be last night. It definitely is not the greatest Paul show ever, you know? So, but I'm glad you still enjoyed yourself. The horror movie segment was fun, yeah. Yeah, I'm feeling a little better today, you know. Guys, something happened. I'm stoned. I just realized I'm higher than the motherfucker right now, dude. I had no clue. dad's voice is so nice to listen to. I hope to see him more down the road. Yeah, me too. Yeah, me too. I like my dad. I love my dad. He's a good guy. A smart guy. Not bad looking either, I have to say. Anyway. Yeah, it might be time for a tea break for you, Fred. All I want to do is sit in a warm bathtub in my yard while it's raining on me. Just get a jacuzzi. It sounds like you need a jacuzzi. There you go. There's your goal. Hot tub and a sprinkler, yeah. Hot tub and a sprinkler. Yeah. Yeah. Hot tub and a sprinkler. Shower tub, let's go. No, I did not see the dumb movie about the time traveling jacuzzi. Yeah, I didn't bother with that one. That's one that I never really checked out. You'll have to forgive me for that. But it looked like it sucked shit, so I didn't. Yeah, that one. That one. Hot tub, time machine. So nice and so clean. Man. I need to get Rodney. I need to get Rodney to come visit me, man. Bring his geet. I need Rodney to come visit me with his geet feedle. I ain't wrote a song in a hot minute. Have you seen Land of the Lost with Will Ferrell? I highly recommend. It's silly but funny. It has nothing to do with time travel. I have not. Yeah, if you can make it to a meetup, bring your little guitar. Do a little jam sesh. I don't know though. That kind of improvisational playing thing it's when you haven't worked with somebody in that capacity before. That's the cool thing about me and Rodney is like I think even till this day, if he was sitting right over there with a guitar, we could write a whole album worth of songs in a couple of days. used to do it all the time with a different friend group, but you definitely got to have some chemistry to make it great. Yeah. Well, it's just, just working with somebody that long for that many years, you develop a sense of each other's timing and stuff. All of that. I am